welcome Andre Lovestam, CEO of Zwipe, to talk to us on from contactless to contact-free. Thank you, Andre.
Thank you, Alan, and thanks for inviting me to this webinar. So please let me first of all introduce Zwipe and our thinking around biometric payment cards to you in a presentation that's called From Contactless to Contact-Free Payments. And then we will get back with some discussion as well on a Q&A session. So first of all, to introduce Zwipe, we are Fintech pioneering biometric payment, and we have been focused on biometric payments, our foundation in 2009. And as you will see, our history is full of world's firsts. So in 2014, in partnership with MasterCard and Overture Technologies, we presented the world's first biometric contactless payment card proof of concept. In 2016, together with CPI, we demonstrated the world's first dual interface biometric payment card. And in 2018, we also launched the world's first pilot with a biometric dual interface payment card, together with Visa, Gemalto, and Bank of Cyprus. During 2019 and 2020, we also got listed on the Oslo Stock Exchange and also on Nasdaq First North in Stockholm. And now in 2021, we are thrilled to be offering card manufacturers all over the world the world's first single silicon biometric system on card, which is a disruptive technology that will radically simplify the production of biometric payment cards. And this card is made called Zwipe 1. I will get back to that shortly. So what are the cornerstones of Zwipe's competitive position? Well, first of all, it is the combination of our technology, cost, and performance leadership on the one hand, based on the single silicon technology, and also our one-stop shop offering to card manufacturers, where we take a value-adding trusted advisor and systems integrator role, and we help the customers end-to-end through the whole preparation stage, both in terms of production, in terms of marketing, go-to-market, and also sales. But on top of that, I have seen lately that also our full focus and dedication to biometric payments really makes a difference to our customers and our prospects. We are completely and fully focused only on biometric payments. So our entire organization, which spans now about 30 people across mostly all time zones, from Colorado Springs to Singapore, they are fully focused on biometric payments, and we are known by our passion, our agility, and our willingness to serve. So what we will bring to market is a first of its kind solution, Zwipe 1, which will offer our card manufacturing customers a solution with superior energy efficiency and excellent biometric performance at highly competitive prices. And I will explain why later on in the presentation. We also take a completely end-to-end approach, supporting our customers with professional services, in terms of production readiness, but also we offer professional services to banks and issuers on biometric payments in general, offering consumer insights and also guidance on how to market the product, how to present it and explain it to consumers, and how to execute pilots. So let's take a step back and look at what's happened over the last year or so. I mean, it's been a terrible challenge to all of us, with COVID-19 affecting us all. And it has also affected payment habits quite dramatically. As you probably all know, contactless payment has skyrocketed in most countries, driven by an elevated focus on safety more than anything else. And this has also increased the transaction limits most all over the world. And we do believe that hygiene will become an accelerator and a game changer for biometric payments, because it offers a solution taking the step from contactless to truly contact-free payments, while introducing much higher security at the same time. So a biometric payment card will effectively eliminate the need for ever touching the payment terminal, because the PIN is replaced by your fingerprint on the card. And the matching is done on the card, so there is no reliance on any central database that can easily be hacked or anything like that. MasterCard conducted a global study last year where they saw tremendous growth and interest of contactless payments. Worldwide, contactless transactions grew more than double and have since continued to grow, with consumers telling the story that they have moved contactless cards to top of wallet, that they view contactless as a much cleaner and faster way to pay, and that they will continue to use contactless payments post-pandemic. So I think clearly this trend is here to stay, and with increasing contactless transaction limits, the security challenge and the concern among consumers will only increase, and that needs a response and an answer. And I do believe that this response is biometric payment cards, and that is why I clearly call this the next generation contactless card. So what is a biometric payment card? Well, first of all, it's a card where the authentication is done through your fingerprint on the card itself. So your fingerprint data are stored on the card and they are matched on the card. And in order to run that process, there is no battery, but power is instead harvested from the payment terminals, from the NFC field in the payment terminals to your card, so that you can run the biometric authentication there and then just communicate back to the payment terminal that I am me. It is an authenticated transaction and it can go through. And that means that it also bypasses any transaction limits that are imposed locally. So you can do a truly touch-free payment transaction above or below the transaction limit, and nobody else can misuse your stolen card or lost card if you lose it, because they don't have your fingerprints. So what are the drivers of this next generation contactless payment? Well, first of all, the shift from contactless to contact-free payment is driving consumer adoption. Of course, it's very compelling and attractive for consumers to have a truly touchless and pinless experience at all times. It's less friction, it takes less time, but more than anything, it gives peace of mind due to the strong card security, and at the same time also the in-store hygiene and generally uplifted experience that consumers will have with these cards. Secondly, the technology maturity that we're now seeing is driving faster adoption in the industry. With the single silicon secure element that I have mentioned and that I will explain more in detail later, costs are fast approaching the price inflection point to trigger mass volume takeoff. And the existing contactless point of sale infrastructure can be reused. So contrary to when chip and PIN cards were introduced or contactless payment cards were introduced, there is no need for a significant upgrade of the terminal infrastructure. Technical implementation for an issuer is quite simple. It takes between 4 and 6 weeks on the back end, and we're seeing that ever more card suppliers are now preparing to support our Zwipe Pay One platform with pilots from the third quarter this year, and the first deployments being targeted from late 2021. And due to the interest from consumers, there's also a strong business case for all the players in the value chain. For example, for new revenue, because more than 50% of card holders are willing to pay a meaningful fee between $2 and $12 per month for a biometric payment card. There's also the possibility of acquiring new customers and increasing the loyalty of existing customers by offering these biometric payment cards. And our research shows that between 45 and 55% of cardholders will actually want to, even contact new issuers to get a biometric payment card if their current issuer does not have one. And for card manufacturers, of course, biometric payment cards brings the opportunity to increase the value of the cards dramatically, and also to differentiate their offering and drive growth and revenues in a very competitive landscape. So here, for example, are some results from research that we have done in the UK together with our partner Tieto Every. And it shows, for example, in the in the bottom right corner, that 83% of UK consumers have concerns on the risk of infection when paying in store and touching the payment terminal. Also, it shows that 79% of consumers want their next biometric, their next payment card to be biometric. And as I mentioned, here in the UK case, 55% are willing to pay a monthly fee to have such a card, and 49% say that they would switch to a new bank to have a biometric payment card if necessary. We've also done a pilot, this one, a webinar poll with about 70 participants from Nordic and Baltic banks in a webinar that we did together with Tieto Every in November last year, asking if the banks would be interested in piloting and or launching biometric payment cards in 2021. And the interesting thing is that 72% of respondents said that they were interested in biometric payment cards in 2021, 41% for piloting, and 31% for both piloting and launching. Only 28% said that they were not interested in 2021. So we're seeing a very strong interest among issuers, and engaging now with more than 250 issuers around the world, we're seeing that this interest is just growing, both in size and also in urgency. So let me, to finish off, just say a few words about the technology evolution in the marketplace. The name of the game is simplification, it's consolidation, it's size down, complexity down, and cost down. That's what it's all about. So starting to the left, the first generation biometric payment cards were containing discrete components that were mounted on an active inlay. And this active inlay was so heavy with technology that it couldn't withstand hot lamination, which is the industrialized, high volume, high speed, low cost production technique that's used for biometric payment cards. So really that card is not viable for mass market deployment in high volumes, because the costs were, $20, $30, or even $40 per card. There are some alternatives that are offered in the market, which are somewhere in between, with a so-called system in package solution, where most of these components are assembled into a module, and that will reduce the cost but only to a certain extent. So I think the cost will probably be in the $15 to $20 range, even for those cards. And in order to radically reduce the cost, the optimal solution would be a so-called single silicon solution, which is what we are bringing to market. We have a technology collaboration with IDEMIA on developing a single silicon solution. And we are just leapfrogging the second generation type of card and moving straight to the single silicon solution, which will be the first mass market ready solution. And it is based on a single silicon secure element. And we believe that the costs of this card at volume will quickly get down to $10 and below, and with volumes over the coming years growing even higher, then the price will even go down below $10. So we are offering the whole, full turnkey solution from the ISO contact plate module, including the single silicon secure element mounted behind it, to also the operating system, biometric Java card operating system, also reference designs for inlays and cards, integration support, and also optionally, customers may choose to buy biometric aware payment applets supporting Visa and MasterCard solutions, and also local schemes. We're also offering fingerprint sensor. We have chosen the IDEX next generation sensor for our Zwipe K1 solution, and also pre-laminate sheets and enrollment solutions. And talking about enrollment, our solutions are fully focused on at-home enrollment, although we can support in-branch enrollment as well. And the at-home enrollment solutions will either be supported with an envelope or a sleeve which contain a battery to power up the card while doing the enrollment on the card. And also we have in development a self-enrollment solution that's based on interacting with your mobile phone, so that you will actually power the card contactlessly from the mobile phone, while also having a user guidance on your screen. Our partner and customer network is global and growing all the time. Only last week on Tuesday, the 6th of April, we announced our latest partnership. It's not even on this slide, with KL High-Tech, one of the leading card manufacturers in India. And we now have a fully global network of card manufacturing partners and also other go-to-market partners to lay the foundation for our growth over the next coming years. And with that, Alan, I'm through with the introduction, and let me stop sharing, and then we can just have a quick discussion.
Thank you, Andre. Just let me get my video back up, and here I am. So thank you so much, Andre, and it's so much to discuss on this topic. In our recent analyst report on biometric payments, we forecast that a combination of contactless payment cards and mobile wallets will dominate the physical in-store payment scenarios, with a healthy slice of payment cards being biometrically enabled. So on the back of your presentation, and obviously the experience that we have as an analyst firm in this space, I have some questions for you. So, and the first one, it's related to that experience of being an analyst firm and attempting to put some numbers on biometric payment cards. So it seems that we've been talking about biometric payment cards for some time, and I've been working on forecasting the market since 2015, and it hasn't been a straightforward job to come up with the forecasts. And I think there has been a knock-on effect of COVID in terms of deployment and pilots. But when do you believe that this technology will go mainstream?
Well, it's very soon approaching. I must say, you said you have been studying and forecasting this since 2015. Tell me about it, Alan. I mean, I have been investing in Zwipe on this promise since 2014. So, I mean, it's taken much longer than anyone had expected. And I think that the major obstacles that had to be solved were, more than anything, the cost and complexity of the cards. And secondly, ecosystem readiness. With the latest developments, I think it's all coming together. On the demand side, you have consumers now clearly telling everyone that they want the biometric payment cards to solve not only security issues or convenience, the drive for convenience, but also to solve the problem of in-store hygiene and avoiding risk of infection. On the supply side, the whole ecosystem is now seeing this interest, and they are, preparing new solutions and technologies that will have much lower costs and which will be much simpler to produce, and which will have much simpler enrollment solutions. So that's why I think it's all coming together. When exactly will it take off? Well, personally, I believe that we will see some deployments already this year. As you know, BNP Paribas has said that they will introduce biometric payment cards through all their branches from summer 2021. And then when we come on stream with the radically cost-reduced version, the single silicon solution, and costs will come down to the price inflection point of $10, then I think it will, gain even more traction. So I think that you said that 1 in 5 cards issued in 2026 will be biometric. I think that is a very fair assumption. I don't think it's overly aggressive at all. And I do believe that in the long term, let's say towards the end of this century, there's no reason why biometrics should not become as ubiquitous in biometric payment cards as they are, for example, in mobile phones today.
Yep, no, that concurs with us. And I think that, a couple of points. I think that with technology advancement comes cost, and we've seen that with EMV cards. So, that kind of, making them secure, making them contactless, there has been an increased cost. So I think the next level is biometric fingerprint sensors and an ecosystem to support that. So there is undoubtedly going to be an additional cost there, I think. But and also our research, we've done UK consumer research ourselves, and concur with your findings that there is the demand side is strong. There's a willingness to actually pay for these on a monthly basis, and we're seeing this. You mentioned BNP Paribas, and they're charging fee for this as part of their premium service. So yeah. I think it's another thing is the data that kind of payment service providers are actually kind of like WorldReach published a very, very interesting report a couple of weeks ago, or a month ago, I think it was, saying that going forward, going into 2024, beyond 2024, plastic is still going to be around, and we're going to see mobile and plastic working simultaneously together and being as popular as each other, 2, 3, 4, 5 years hence from here.
Yes, I think that's a very important point. I don't know if you noticed, but on the slide where I presented the UK consumer data, there was also one bullet about 78% of UK consumers saying they prefer to pay in store with their cards.
Yeah.
and only 17% say that they prefer to pay with their mobile phones. I think that these different modalities of payment will live side by side. There will be certain transactions that will be preferable with your mobile phone. For example, if you're transferring some money to your friends or family or whatever, and there are other transactions where cards will prevail for decades, and that would be in-store payments. That's at least my firm belief, based on the consumer data that we have.
Yes, yeah, and I think also another very important kind of adoption area is in ticketing. So with the type of ticketing payment solution that you see with Transport for London here in the UK, with that your payment device becoming the ticket as well. So
Exactly.
once we get moving again and out and socializing, then I think that will become increasingly important. Talking to the UK, talking about the UK specifically, with the UK's recent announcement that it was preparing to increase the contact limit to £100, what are the risks to consumers and card issuers alike from this?
Well, you know, I think that generally increasing contactless limits will tend to help consumers to, you know, to enjoy the convenience of contactless payments. Nevertheless, when the BBC ran an article explaining the impact of the change, moving to £100 contactless limits in the UK, nearly 2,000 comments were left by consumers and commentators on their news page. And a significant number of those were not supportive of the move. And why is this? This is of course due to consumer concerns about security, and consumers perceiving that there is a lack of security, and this lack of security will of course be multiplied several times if the contactless limit is increased. There's also increased what should I say, incentives for fraudsters to start focusing on contactless cards. For example, you know, the ever reappearing story about people being skimmed on the tube, for example, due to you know, people going around with contactless payment terminals. So I think that this is where biometric payment cards will combat this concern and provide the reassurance and the peace of mind to consumers that you know, you can have a very convenient card and still enjoy the peace of mind and security without being afraid of fraudsters. I think for issuers as well, I mean, there's no doubt that this incentive could lead to increased numbers of fraud. There have been reports that card fraud has increased during COVID-19. I think that once we return to a normal lifestyle and people will start, you know, moving out and about, this card fraud could increase even further. And that's why I think that a biometric payment card is really the answer to this problem. Yeah,
definitely. It's an assurance for the consumers that their security and their cards and their money's been protected, and also the assurance for card issuers that they're not going to see any increasing in financial fraud as a result of this. Yeah, very much so. So, you know, in our research, we've identified enrollment as being a very key, a critical component for, you know, convenient and smooth adoption of biometric payment cards. So, and in your presentation, you gave a number of different models for enrolling. So, in your opinion, what would be the most popular method to enroll people?
Well, on a high level, I think that at-home enrollment will be absolutely key, just as you say, for convenience reasons. You can do it in the comfort of your own home. You don't have to go to the to the branch or anything like that. When it comes to which type of at-home enrollment, I would think that over time, mobile assisted and supported enrollment, card enrollment, will be most popular. But you know, for the time being, there will be different types of mobile phones with different types of you know, performance on the NFC, etc. So I think this needs further testing and further development. We do already have a fully functional beta version, so we will be putting this to piloting as well. But in the very short term, I think that the sleeve solution will be the best bet.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. It makes sense. So in terms of adoption, and there are, you know, the increasing amount of pilots going on, and we're seeing commercial rollout. So what regions are you seeing as being kind of early adopters of this, and why these particular regions?
Well, I would say that there are three regions that stick out. It's Europe, it's the Middle East, and it's Asia. And why, I think, is because of the general maturity of payment in these markets. So I see strong growth in interest in all of these areas, and I actually also see interest in the other areas, the Americas and Africa as well. But I think, you know, the Middle East and Europe will be the areas where we can see the fastest growth, and Asia is also picking up quite substantially.
Okay, thank you. So you've identified, obviously, that the cost of the card is another critical component to its success, and it is as someone who used to work for a card manufacturer myself, it is the ecosystem can be quite complex, and I think what you're trying to do is to simplify that and to make it easier for card manufacturers to integrate biometric technology into their cards. So what is being done by the industry to reduce the complexity and also the per card cost?
Several things. First of all, like I said, complexity down, size down, which reduces the cost. So, for example, enabling hot lamination and just having one single component which can be mounted on the back of the contact plate and then just post-placed into the card. That, of course, dramatically simplifies the production of the card. And then I think that generally, you know, all kinds of simplifications on enrollment solutions and so on will also reduce cost. For example, with mobile enrollment, there is no need for a device, a dongle, or anything to produce the power to the card. So that will also help to reduce costs. And then I think that there will also be focus on single components. Certain components are still high cost. So of course, you know, adding, increasing competition, more players into the field will help. And then lastly, volume will help to reduce costs quite substantially.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your answers, Andre. I'd just like to say to our audience out there, if you have any questions, then please direct them to us at Goode Intelligence, and we can either pass them on to Andre or answer those ourselves. But thank you for your time today, Andre. Thank you for the audience for tuning in, and I look forward in continuing the dialogue with you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Alan, and thanks for having me.
Thank you.